Dear students, how are you? Can you recognize me? Look at the screen. Who I am? What are you doing? Living in your house during this corona epidemic crisis? Are you in a continuation of self-study? Through online classes or e-classes, our attempts are to assist you with your self-study. In my previous class, I taught you some special rules of passage narration that would be helpful to the students of class 9, 10, 11 and 12. During my teaching, I feel an important part of passage narration, and that is the rules of imperative sentence in passage narration. So, let us start our teaching and learning. Imperative sentence can be classified into two types: simple imperative sentence and complex imperative sentence. Simple imperative sentence begins with finite verb such as come, go, study, sit, etc. And complex imperative sentence begins with let. So, look at the screen. Simple imperative sentence. Here, infinitive to plays the role of a connector to connect the two parts of a speech, reporting part and reported part. And here you can see reporting verb, if there is say to, it will be changed to order, advise, request, beg or tell, and then object, then infinitive to as a connector to connect the parts in indirect narration. Exercise worked out. You can see, dear students, the commander said to his soldiers, march on. Here reported part, march on, and reporting part, the commander said to his soldiers. Here said to contains the object his soldiers. So, indirect narration will be the commander ordered. Here said to is changed to the verb ordered the soldiers to march on. Here to is as a connector to connect the two parts, reporting part and reported part. Example there, example 2, the teacher said to his students, carry on self-study. The teacher advised. Here, according to the sense, said to is changed to the verb advised his students to carry on self-study. Accordingly, there are some examples. In these examples, various kinds of reporting verb are used. The students, here example number 3, the student said to the teacher, sir, explain the rule please. Sir, for sir, respectfully, adverb respectfully is used, and for please, requested. Reporting verb requested is used. The students respectfully requested the teacher to explain the rule. Next, example number 4, the student said to the principal, sir, grant our application. Here reporting verb said to is changed to begged, and for sir the adverb respectfully is used here, and the to is used here, infinitive to is used here to connect the two parts of speech. So, the solution is the students respectfully begged the principal to grant their application. My friend said to me, hurry up. Here, said to is changed to the verb of tell, told in past tense. My friend told me to hurry up. Next, for simple imperative negative sentence, in the above example or rules, you would see the affirmative sentence. Now, in this rule, you can see negative sentence. If the imperative sentence, simple imperative sentence begins with, if the simple imperative sentences are negative, then not plus infinitive to will be used. In that additional verb, if there are order, advice, request, beg, tell, etc., then object and connector not to, not plus infinitive to. But if you use reporting verb, if you use for reporting verb forbid or prohibit, then not will not be used. Just infinitive to will be used to connect the two parts of speech. Example, my mother said to me, don't waste your time. Here the solution is, my mother advised me, said to advised me, said to me advised me, and the connector not to for don't. Do plus not, auxiliary verb do plus not will be omitted, and then here not plus infinitive to will be used to connect the two parts of the speech. My mother advised me not to waste my time. Or if we use finite verb in indirect narration, forbid or prohibit, then the solution will be, my mother forbade me to waste my time. Here, if you use forbid or prohibit, not will not be used. Next, rule 3. For imperative sentence beginning with let, meaning proposal or suggestion, that is very important for you to understand. If the imperative sentence begins with let, meaning proposal or suggestion, then the structure here, the reporting verb say will be changed to propose or suggest. If there is object of reporting verb, then the structure say to for object. Say does not contain an object, say to must contain an object. So, if there is object of reporting verb say to or said to, then propose to or suggest to, appropriate preposition to, the proposed verb propose or suggest must contain appropriate preposition to if there is object of reporting verb. So, say to or said to will be changed to propose to or suggest to, then object and that as a connector to connect the two parts of speech. exercise worked out. Here you see, I said, there is no object of reporting verb said. Let us take coffee. Here the solution is, I proposed that, not to, I proposed that we should take coffee. In this case, if the imperative sentence begins with let and meaning proposal or suggestion, then the modal verb after the subject of reporting, after the subject of subordinate clause or dependent clause in direct narration or direct speech, indirect speech, indirect narration or indirect speech, the connector that begins with the connector that begins the subordinate clause or dependent clause, and after that there is a subject and the subject includes or contains a modal verb should, if the imperative sentence means proposal or suggestion. Here you can see in the solution, I proposed that we should take coffee. Should, that, here you can see that we should take coffee. This is a subordinate clause in indirect narration or indirect speech, and after subject we, modal verb should is used for the sentence of proposal or suggestion beginning with let in imperative sentence. Example number 2. The chairman said to his members, let us discuss the matter. Here the reported part, the speaker suggests or proposes something to someone. So the solution will be, the chairman suggested, said to is changed here into the verb suggested to his members that, as a connector here, that, then the subject, and subject it includes should, modal verb should, discuss the matter. The chairman suggested to his members that they should discuss the matter. Just here you must remember, if the sentence begins with let, imperative sentence begins with let and it means proposal or suggestion, then in indirect speech the subject of dependent or subordinate clause must contains the modal verb should for proposal or suggestion. In other case, when the imperative sentence begins with let and it means allowance, noun form of verb allow, or permission or approval, then the subject contains may or may be allowed to, may, modal verb may, or the phrase including modal verb may be allowed to is used before the finite verb of reported speech. For example, here you can see he said let me go home. Here the speaker of reported speech wants permission from someone to go home. So, the solution, he said that. Here you can see in the structure, reporting verb, if there is say, it will not be changed. Say remains the same, then that as a connector. He said that, said reporting verb. If there is no object of reporting verb, so the reporting verb will remain the same. He said that as a connector, that here is used, that, and the subject he, might, he may, might in past tense, he might or might be allowed to go home. Example 2, the police officer said to his constables, let him get free. The police officer told his constables. Here reporting verb said to is changed to the verb of tell, told in past tense. The police officer told his constables that. Here that is used here to connect the two parts of speech, two parts, reporting part and reported part. Then he, subject, and the phrase including modal verb might, he might be allowed to get free. Here you can see. So, I can make you understand that if imperative sentence begins with let, meaning proposal or suggestion, modal verb should is used. But in case of the imperative sentence beginning with let, meaning allowance, permission or approval, so in this case modal verb may or might, or the phrase may be allowed to or might be allowed to is used. Next, here is an important matter. You can see here there are two exemplary sentence beginning with could or would. You can guess this kind of sentences are interrogative, but in meaning or meaningfully the sentences are imperative. Could you lend me your pen? Would you open the door, please? This kind of sentences are imperative. Structurally, these kinds of sentences are interrogative, you can guess, but in meaning or meaningfully, these kinds of sentences are imperative. It follows the rule of simple imperative sentence. And the modal verb could plus subject, would plus subject are omitted, and imperative to is used to connect the two parts of sentence. To is used before the finite verb lend, here in this example, or open. So, my friend said to me, could you lend me your pen? The solution is, my friend requested. Here the reporting verb said to is changed into the reporting, changed to the reporting verb request, then object, then infinitive to as a connector. The patient said to the nurse, example number 1, you can see my friend said to me, my friend requested me. Said to is changed into the verb requested, me, then object me, and connector to, infinitive to, and then could you, modal verb could plus subject are omitted, and the rest of the sentence begins with finite verb length is used after the infinitive to, after the connector infinitive to here. So, the solution is my friend requested me to lend him my pen. The patient, example 2, the patient said to the nurse, would you open the door please? The patient politely, for please politely, and for reporting verb said to is changed to requested. The patient politely requested the nurse to open the door. Next, here you can see subject changing structure. Here, in case of sentence beginning with let, and if there is an object of reporting verb, the object of reported verb is changed into the subject according to the following structures. Here there are 4 structures you can see. That means, if the imperative sentence begins with let and there is an object of reporting verb, then the structures are applied to change the subject of reported speech. In indirect narration, the subject of dependent or subordinate clause. Example, for example, I can give you the structure is applied in the above sentence. Here the example structure third person plus second person or third person. If the subject of reporting verb is third person and the object of reporting verb second person or third person, then the subject of reported verb will be changed into the forms of third person in dependent clause or subordinate clause that begins with that in indirect speech or narration. I can give you example where the last structure is maintained or applied. Third person plus second person or third person and the changing form third person, second person or third person, third person. Here you can see in the last example here the police officer third person and the object his constables third person and the subject third person. Third person, third person, third person. Here him is changed into the form, subjective form he, third person. The last structure is applied in this sentence. Then here you can see another case. If the sentence begins with let and there is no object of reporting verb, then the structures here, there are 6 structures are applied in that kinds of sentences. Example, here you can see third person plus first person and third person. If the subject of reporting verb is third person and there is no object of reporting verb, then the object of reported verb is first person. If there are, then the object of reporting verb will be changed to the forms of third person in subordinate or dependent clause in indirect speech. Here the structure third person plus first person and changing form third person, first person, third person. You can see the example here. My friend, third person, and the object of reporting verb me, first person. Then here the next above in the here begins with let. This sentence reported speech begins with let and there is no object of reporting verb here in this sentence. You can see here third person subject of reporting speech and first person object of reported speech. So, third person, first person, and the changing form of subject here third person, first person, third person. In this sentence, the structure third person, first person, third person. This structure is applied in the above sentence. Now, let me finish my class. If you miss my previous class about the rules of passage narration, just pause them browsing the website, browsing our AB website or my personal Facebook ID. So, thank you. Take care of yourself, follow the rules of hygiene, try to stay at home and carry on your self-study. If possible, extend your hands to the distance. See you.